I love coffee. Okay, so want to get into the Kundalini rising. Forgive my wardrobe. I'm trying to do my best here. Not in my normal place of doing this. Needed to disconnect from my world into a place of relaxation and rest and separation from energies, other energies. Probably I said I was going to talk about the Kundalini rising, but let's see, because you know me, once I get started, I have a lot to say about what's going on in my own personal life, which looks like total chaos at this point. Feels like total chaos. And feels like everything's falling apart, which is not a bad thing. In spiritual alchemy, it's called the tower. Which is a lot of what I feel like I'm going through, a big tower explosion. Although in a reading that I did for myself didn't show up, but it feels that way. So whatever, maybe it's my resistance to change and transformation at this point, which is fine. Everything is fine. That's what I have to keep telling myself, or I'm going to go crazy. Which is what you should keep telling yourself, or you guys are going to go crazy. Unless you guys are in a really good space, mentally, spiritually, physically. I literally, spiritually am in a good place. Mentally, sometimes not. And physically, my body is starting to deteriorate into nothingness. That's what I feel. But to understand how to connect all of them together, and sometimes you have to go through the fire, which feels a lot like pain. So there you go. In pain and suffering is where I'm at. I have to share this so that I could get past it. The suffering and the pain coming from probably the catalyst of change and transformation in the physical realm, which good morning, how are you, Lovey? And I don't know who's on Spirit and Coffee. Good morning to you guys. I have to get on to my Spirit and Coffee live stream now because I can't see if people are on through Facebook, but good morning to those on Facebook. So if you're there, say good morning, drop a good morning. I'm going to try to get on live myself just to see. Oh, there's 2 people live. So let's see. I'm going to turn this down. Good morning. Who is on here? Say good morning. Okay, so through the tower event that we have. Good morning, Sandra. Life is so hard. The physical world, good morning, Rohit. The physical world is not an easy thing to maneuver through. It's not an easy place to go through, at least for me. When you're so caught up in the spiritual dimension, sometimes the physical hits like a tidal wave, maybe way after, months, weeks. The understanding of the physical world when you're going through the spiritual dimension just becomes harder. So for me, I do everything spiritual first, always. It's just naturally the way that I was made. And to understand the physical realm has been so hard and complex. And I think most individuals actually feel that way. How do we be human? How do we live in this human existence? How do we create? How do we have partnerships or engage with other people? How do we create a win-win situation? How do we love when we feel like everything's falling to pieces? I even want to cry. So here I go. Now you guys get to see me cry on here again. Good morning, Emily. Good morning, Mama. Part of it, right, is allowing the tower to come and deconstruct everything about you. Just letting go of everything you are and letting it all fall apart. Because that's how I feel. This is a very intense Spirit and Coffee for me. So you guys, I apologize. I'm trying to get through it. But how do we learn unless we have the authenticity of what is hard to go through? Because not everything's peachy keen all the time. And that's okay. The suffering allows us to grow in places in ways that we couldn't have perhaps in the past. Or maybe we were stuck somewhere and the suffering comes to remind us to wake up and focus on the things that are important. Maybe our eye was on something that it shouldn't have been, or maybe we were headed down a path that wasn't going to serve us. And so the deconstruction of the way your life looks. Right now, I'm deconstructing at all levels. And I won't say spiritually, because spiritually, that's the essence of God that lives out there for us to reach on to. That's the essence that we pull from, is the spirit. We go up and we reach up and we pull from the heavens that feeling of happiness and joy and all that stuff that exists in the void, in the essence of universal principles. Beyond that, right? It's trying to pull that information back down here to communicate the experience that we're having. The mind gets in the way, right? The physical body gets in the way. The distortion between how we're viewing or perceiving the world around us gets in the way. Other energies come and get in the way, and everything that we perceive to be true or reality gets distorted into this new dimensional time space of reality, and we don't know what's up or what's down or what's around and what is true for us anymore. And that's okay. That's what happens. In fact, that is part of Kundalini. When you awaken the Kundalini, which is not easy for most, is that you go into the subconscious mind and start to heal the very fabric of those tiny pieces, the little intricacies that have set us back from actually doing and becoming our God self in motion, to truly recognize who we are as an individual, to truly rise from the ashes as the phoenix, to truly stand forthrighted, this is who I am. We burn up, and the burning up and the crumbling of the tower feels so painful in the physical world. The physical dimension of experiencing this is not fun. It's not. But everybody goes through it, and that's the biggest issue that I have with most processes, is that they're saying, well, you're going to experience hell and that's bad, or you're going to... It's not bad to go through the fire. We have to go through the fire. That's part of the transmutation process. Transfiguration, coagulation, like all of this transformational work that you do, you got to go through the fire, the uncomfortable, the parts that you don't want to. Because when you come out on the other end, out of the ashes, you rise as a new phoenix. And that's what we see happening. That's what I'm going through. It's painful. It's not fun. But when we reach the other side of God's miracle, because that's where God's miracle exists, the blessing comes after the tower is destroyed, after the chaos comes. You have the star, your greatest wish, your greatest hope, your greatest dream. So right now, I am in a very hard place right now in my life. It's been challenging at every level. Every skill set that I have is being put to the test, is what I feel like. It's like your final test to ascension, right? How does that feel? Good morning, Nourish. Why are you crying? Oh, because Mom, it's a lot. I'm going through a lot right now. If you're still on here, that's why I'm crying. There's a lot going on in this world, in my heart. I cry for the world even. I understand that if I'm feeling this suffering here in this space, that the world is feeling the suffering. And it's a lot. Good morning, Vinny. It's a lot. Feeling the suffering of the world is probably the most intense thing that you could possibly go through. You know, even your own suffering. So you have your own suffering, but then to feel the weight of the world on you, right? And taking myself so seriously. And this is a trap that I fall into myself, is the trap of taking things a little bit too serious, right? Being so critical and hard on myself that I can't even breathe sometimes. It's like I can't even handle my own self. I can't even handle to be around my own self. But this is part of the human condition. It's part of my transformational journey. It's part of the way that I actually react to certain things in my life. Is it bad? No. So everybody has their own unique way of going through the fire. Everybody has their own unique way of allowing the tower to crumble and come down and rebirth into something new. So it could be the death of an old way of thinking, or the death of an old way of communicating. But allowing that process to live through us is not, it's not fun. I mean, the experiences that I have in life are beautiful. And when I get through the fire and the tower, I know what waits at the end of it. So I allow myself to fully go through it, which is not, like I said, not good, fun. But at the end of it is God's blessing and understanding. It's clearer. It's the clarity that comes with it. So as we progress into the new earth or the new era, more and more people are starting to feel the pressure and the suffering and the weight of the world and the fires and the this and that. You know, it's like Armageddon. It's like, it's a spiritual warfare. Yeah, there's physical things going on, but really, is your spirit ready to go through the hardships that it takes to get through the fire? And then in the fire, after the fire burns up and the ashes are to dust, how we rise above is what's critical. How do you rise out of the ashes? Are you ready to rise out of the ashes as a new baby phoenix to take flight? But you can't get there unless you go through it. The only way out is through. You got to go through it. So right now, in awakening the Kundalini, which has been a significant process, is looking at the subconscious mind and the tiny intricacies, you know. Yeah, living on Earth is very hard. Yes, it is. Living on Earth is one of the hardest things anybody could go through. Why would somebody choose to be here? Just kidding. Kidding, not kidding. Joking, not joking. But I will say this, I've had beautiful experiences on this earth too. Like magnificent, like just awe-inspiring, where I go, wow. If I had to go through all that pain just to see that one moment in time, it was all worth it. Kind of weird, right? That's a weird way to see it, but it's the truth. Okay, let's see what you had to say, Vinny. Yes, there are things in life which we are really take it very seriously, but actually we're not supposed to take it that seriously. Yeah. In such times, being relaxed is necessary and solve the problem, but don't get involved in the problem so much that it ends up harming you. Have confidence, motivation, inspiration, concentration, and dedication, and patience inside you. Never give up. Relax. Take breaks. Solve problems slowly, but never give up. Oh, that's beautiful. Make me cry. Thanks, Vinny, for that. That's beautiful. Good morning, Marco. How are you? I haven't seen you in a while. Hope all is well. I know that you just graduated, but I'm not sure if you are, was it your master's or your bachelor's program? I can't remember. Don't know if you're still in alpha, but there you go. Thank you for those words. And yes, it is. And it's hard. I take things very serious, and I'm very, very, very hard on myself because maybe I strive for perfection and there is none. And maybe that's why I'm always ending up in these situations where I beat myself up, probably more than anybody ever will. I'll try to get through it. So, the fire, the earth, what we're going through, the planet, God's plan, and we know that this prophecy was given ages ago, right? That it's almost like the hero's journey, but we're at a time of ascension where people are rising from the coffins, old patterns are dying out. We're supporting the very foundation of the families that we live in to restructure the DNA and the mindset and those old historical traumas that held us back from actually being the greatest version of who we can be. And then bringing ourselves forward and rising up with that confidence, right? And being able to say, yes, I did this, and here's my staff. Your staff being the staff of your divine will. So if we thought about it for like all of these prophets or anybody who was like, I talked to God and God gave me instruction, they all had a staff. The staff is really what it is that fire inside you. It's the staff of fire. And the fire energy sits in the solar plexus, but it's the divine will that allows us to create and manifest into the world. And sometimes we have to burn up the fire that was in us before and recreate using our staff. So just think of it. When they had the staff, what were they doing? They had their staff and they stood steadfast with it. And they said, this is the will of God. That's what that means. Okay. So for those of you who didn't know that the staff meant fire energy, the will of God, now you know. And you can find that out if you look into spiritual alchemy. It's one of the hardest energies to work with, okay? It will pass. We go through a lot while being on earth. Each moment is a lesson. Hopefully we learn and make better choices. Yes, thanks, Mom. That's me trying to make better choices for my life. My life choices are questionable. Feel like hitting myself on my head on the table at this point. But also feel like I'm a dog chasing my tail, trying to figure out how to get the spiritual lesson that is here in front of me. Perhaps when I'm ready, it'll all make sense. I've been through several of these types of events in my life. And at the end, the magnificence, again, that was waiting at the end of it was so masterfully put together that I say, God, you are the great design. When you allow yourself to surrender to God's design and go through it, and at the end, right, it's like how everything gets laid out is so masterful. You can't make this up. There's no story that could be written by God's plan. You can't write a story as amazing as God's. There's just no. This is a cat. I could read every fiction book, every whatever. But the way that God lays it out for you when you allow yourself to go through it, and then you see the miracle, it's like, holy, what? So surrender perhaps is something I get to practice. And that's the big thing. Understanding where I get to open up, surrender, communicate authentically, all of the practices and principles I use, and allow myself to be okay with being in the sadness or this tower event. But also sharing it with you guys to let you know that life isn't always like it looks good, right? Everybody puts on these beautiful, like, life is wonderful. Life is this. But really, people are saying, yeah, I'm trying to strive for that, but not really experiencing that. So are you being honest with yourself about your experiences? And are your experiences maybe frustration, anger, sadness? Not staying there forever, but allowing yourself to go through the process is what's important. Right? After I cry, after I let it all out, there's this newfound inspiration inside me, and the will and the fire starts to flame and redirect in the right space, right mind. So focusing on that. And I'm not saying you guys have to focus on that. I'm just thankful that you guys are here today to listen to me, because perhaps, well, I think I've always kind of needed support, and I always felt like you guys were my support, because I get to just talk, and I get to be authentic, which is important to me. Good morning, Rachel. Being authentic and expressing myself fully is what I strive for. I strive for that, and really feeling like even Spirit and Coffee seems like, even though it's like blasted out to the entire world, if they want to watch it, I still feel safe being able to do that. Why? Because I guess I don't get feedback. Maybe that's why I started this whole thing. Hilarious. Finding out new things as I talk to myself. But also seeing the you guys engaging is important as well. And of course, having different perspectives is always important to me as well. But I just want to say thank you guys for being there for me, because that is what I feel like. I feel thankful for you guys. Please read my last message. I did. Or did you write more? Oh, you wrote more. Sorry, Vinny. I thought it was the same one. Okay, yes, I will absolutely read it. God helps you, but not every time. Being smart and independent enough is really important while solving problems. God will help you when it will feel that the problem is too difficult to be solved by you. If God feels that the problems you are dealing with can be solved by you without the help of God, then it will expect you to solve the problems or on your own. No offense, all cool, peace. God can't help for every problem we face, but some hardest and toughest problems it can help. Just saying my basic viewpoint. Oh, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. Yeah, and I think the challenges, that we face, I have a little different perception on that, which is okay, Vinny, but I appreciate your feedback. That, yes, in a way, I think what you're trying to say, no offense, all cool, please. Oh, I'm not offended at all, Vinny, not at all. That's the thing is I'm pretty neutral, which is hard for some to think that I am, but I am. Like, whatever you say is fine. I'm not mad. But yeah, I believe that what you're saying is partially true. Like, we do have problems that we solve ourselves based on experiences that we've gone through in the past, and how do we maneuver through them. My worldview, not in an offensive way either, is that God's with us no matter what. So God's always there to help us and support us through anything. And sometimes I think what you're saying is sometimes that inner connection with God, rather than looking or seeking outside ourselves for God to resolve it from an external line of communication, but an internal searching, which is where God resides anyway, right? It's all looking in, that be the support. So what I do, Vinny, for my process, and thank you for your feedback, is that I do internal work, and allow myself to go through the process of whatever it is, suffering, anger, frustration, anxiety. I've been getting a lot of anxiety, trying to figure out how to maneuver through that. And as I maneuver through that, how do I work with it rather than against it? And my trainer said something really cool that I was very thankful for. He's like, Natalie, we work with our body, not against our body. And I was like, I like that. I like that way of thinking. So working with anxiety, not trying to overcome it or push it down or act like it doesn't exist, but using it and redirecting it in a way. Well, and then think about it with martial arts. So, right, Curtis? I don't know if he's paying attention. But with martial arts, it's a Tai Chi redirects energy. Okay. Yeah, I just gotta make sure I'm saying the right stuff, because I get information and then I say it. We redirect the energy. So that's pretty cool. And that's what Tai Chi is. We're not working against the force of it, but we're redirecting it in another way. And that we use its force to wield something even more powerful, really, honestly, because now it's your force and that force together come in unison for a redirection. So being able to do that, it's a little more challenging as you're experiencing it. Like, I'm learning how to do that with my my fire energy, my chi energy, as well as my anxiety, which is part of, I think, my fire energy. And instead of going against it, I'm trying to learn how to redirect it. And I think I'm doing an okay job. I can definitely shift the energy in a space using it. That I do know. How I use it and redirect the energy in the space, that gets to be practiced so that it's the betterment, the good of everyone, rather than harmful. That I'm not really good at yet. So I'm trying to practice that, right? And that doesn't need words. All it needs is silence and redirection. So learning that, okay? Have a good time and get some rest. Mind clear. Miss you. I miss you too, Mom. I think you're already gone. So there you go. Redirecting, working with the energy, not against the energy. I'm really trying hard. So hopefully, since I have a team now, apparently, that my team can help me redirect the energy properly. Or I don't know, support me with figuring out how the hell I do that. Work with the energy. Yes, I agree. Good, Vinny. Thank you. I was pretty sure I knew what you were saying when you wrote your message, but I appreciate it. And I nearly cried from the first message that you sent. And yes. So today, just be kind to yourself. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try my hardest to be kind and gentle and love myself and nurture myself and allow myself to be with my energy, my anxiety, to be with it, to love it, to redirect it, to be with my sadness if it shows up and be okay with it. Like earlier, I started crying, got very exhausted, fell asleep, nodded out for like 5 minutes, woke back up. Then I was like, oh, well, I'll just come to Spirit and Coffee now. But allowing myself to go through every piece of it, right? Not making it wrong and not judging it and not stopping it from actually happening either. Okay, be polite, be kind, love everyone, be happy, make others happy. Yes. I love the word kind. I had a master trainer talk about kindness, and she's like, I love the kind. And then I thought about it, and after a while I was like, you know what? Yeah, kindness. We can all use a little bit of kindness in our life, huh? Oof. I'm learning how to be kind to myself first because it's not working. Starts with me being kind to Natalie first, and then I can manifest that outward. But right now I'm not being kind to myself, so I don't be kind to anybody. I'm not even kind to myself, and I would be kind to somebody else. How? So it doesn't even make sense. So be kind. I like that. Be gentle. Be kind to yourself today. It's okay. Allow yourself to feel. If you have a place to resort and enjoy your life, please do that as well. Okay. So there you have it. Didn't read out of Kundalini. There's enough going on in my life that I think would support you guys. But if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please email me at spiritandbrew@gmail.com. Be working on course material, which I'm super excited about, and doing everything else. And like us on Instagram at Spirit and Coffee 1. Like us on Instagram at Spirit and Coffee 1. Follow us on Facebook Live at Spirit and Coffee Talk. And then you could follow us all over all other platforms if you choose to. And eventually spiritandcoffee.com will be up one day. Just pray for it. Okay. Pray for me too, people. Please. I need all your prayers. Okay. Love you guys. Mean it. Have a good day. Cheers. Yum. Bye.